lovelies, how you doing? Welcome to my channel. If you are stopping by for the first time, welcome and thank you. And if you are returning, welcome and thank you. Today we are talking one hot topic that has been trending for a while, especially on TikTok. Now, shall we do this already, my darlings? Shall we? Let's go.
Just think about all the things in my life that probably would have been a little bit easier if I had some pretty privilege. So I want to make something clear before I go forward. I am not at all saying in this video that I find myself unattractive. I actually think of myself as a okay looking person, and I can really dial it up, when necessary. Here, by the way, is a picture of me celebrating my most recent birthday. But pretty privilege is not something that you yourself can decide that you have, if that makes sense. Like a lot of privileges, it's something that society just gives you based on what the systems of society already are, like before you even got there. So no matter how confident I might be, no matter how much I might spend on a certain type of wig or a certain makeup application style, I'm never going to have pretty privilege.
I want to know a story of when you found out you had pretty privilege. For me, it was when I realized I literally got every single job I've ever applied for, even if that meant I was underqualified. My first job was literally in the mall, and it was when I was 15, and I worked at Champs, which is like a shoe store, and you had to be 16 to work there, 16 and over, but somehow I finessed them and I started working there at 15. From there, I worked at other retail places, and then I went to O'Reilly's, which I only applied to because it's like down the street from my house, and I ended up getting the job and worked there for over a year. I don't know anything about cars, so yeah.
Pretty privilege or beauty bias is real, but can it be unlearned? Now let's talk about everything pretty privilege that has been trending for a while now on TikTok. But what is pretty privilege? And does it actually matter? Pretty privilege is the idea that people who are deemed more attractive based on societal beauty standards are given upper hand in the society or in the world. And so, what are the roots of beauty bias? Is it something that is effectively part of our brain, or do we learn it? And if so, can it be unlearned? Life is far from equal, and while the list for that evidence is very long, one bias that many of us might be struggling to accept is pretty privilege. Life is far from equal, and while the list for that evidence is very long, one bias that many of us might be struggling to accept is pretty privilege. Like most biases, pretty privilege is one bias that most of us are aware of, whether we have experienced this firsthand or not. Yet, it's not often that we're willing to admit it, especially when we're on the receiving end of its benefits. On top of ageism, sexism, racism, all of which influence beauty ideals, where we fall on the physical attractiveness spectrum can actually influence the quality of our life, irrespective of our talents, personality, skills, and anything we have to offer. This bias, also known as lookism, is defined as prejudice or discrimination on the grounds of a person's appearance, and this can occur in a variety of settings, including social environments, dating, and workplaces. It has been proven that pretty privilege can be extremely powerful when it comes to breaking the law and getting away with this. This has been highlighted and investigated on the Netflix series 100 Humans. It has been proven that when somebody attractive commits a crime, they are less likely to be found guilty and get less severe sentence. And so, what are the roots of beauty bias? Is it something that is effectively part of our brain, or do we learn it? And if so, can it be unlearned? For so many years, we have seen that there are certain groups of people that have been excluded from the cultural landscape: TV, advertising, photography, art, even writing. People whose waistlines are too wide, whose skin are too dark, whose legs are paralyzed, whose faces are symmetrical, and so on. They struggle to find a representation in the mainstream media. Now, if this social conditioning is learned, it follows that it can also be unlearned. It will mean that the world and its perception of beauty would have to change, and this will lead to a big reward for the society as a whole in terms of a raised self-esteem, as people will begin to realize that they have a voice and that they matter irrespective of the way they look, which should in turn lead to opportunities opening up for them, so that they no longer get overshadowed by those who are perceived to be more conventionally beautiful. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I'd really like to have your thoughts about this post. What are your experiences? What are your stories? Have you been at the receiving end of pretty privilege, or you have never been at the receiving end? What are your thoughts? Kindly drop down below in the comment section, and if you consider this video a good one, please give me a big thumbs up. If you've not subscribed to my channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification button. Thank you for always. Till I come your way again, let the conversation continue. Mwah.